So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. And as we did promise you, that we are going to tackle a panel topic, a topic and a subject that has been termed controversial in so many quarters. And we're going to look at a subject matter that is banal to our body and our existence as a people. Most of the time, we've been cautioned not to use various substances and objects and plants that are meant and given by the Creator to nourish our bodies. We've never, and most of the time, we do not ask the reason as to why we are cautioned, and the reason as to why most things and most plants are outlawed in many countries. I'm speaking to you from Kenya, and most of the people that I've spoken to about this subject come from different countries in Africa. As we did say that we are going to look at the subject matter, marijuana, and our topic today is the healing value of cannabis sativa. Cannabis sativa is outlawed in many countries. In a few countries, it's been accepted and made legal. But the laws that we are using to outlaw cannabis sativa and marijuana are colonial laws that were established before independence, and we are still using them to date. And so, ladies and gentlemen, today we have experts who are going to help us in investigating and providing answers to these questions. With us today, we have Pastor Bilal, an herbalist and a healer. He's also the head minister of traditional medicine of the state of the African diaspora. A gentleman also who will be joining us is Todd Michel, who is also an herbalist. Before I welcome Mr. Thompson Bilal to share with us his wisdom, I want you to join us in the Holy Scripture, Genesis chapter 1, verses 29, and I read. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. Many questions we ask of trees that grow and plants that grow, which do not have seed. The question is, where are they coming from, and for what purpose do we consume fruits and plants with no seed? And where on earth that a human being will outlaw fruits and seeds that grow of the mother nature, that we get prohibited not to consume them as human beings? The question that arises, wild animals, where they are, who treats them? And yet they grow to maturity. They eat of the gift of Mother Nature. And so today, it's not my day, but I want us to bring to us gentlemen who are going to talk to us, and they are going to share with us the wisdom of our ancestors, and they're going to share with us the wisdom of the Almighty God, the creator of nature, the creator of nature, and Mother Earth. Mr. Thompson Bill, I'm very honored.
Thank you, Brother Joseph.
I'm very honored that you are all here.
Absolutely.
Before we talk about marijuana and cannabis sativa, would you just give us a brief introduction of yourself?
Yes. My name is Thurston Bilal. Uh, I am in Los Angeles, so it's good morning here to the world family, and the entire diaspora. I am a herbalist. I have a long history with herbs. In fact, I started when I was 12 years old, when I found out that my mother had to have open heart surgery. And I spoke with a doctor who I didn't think he was being forthcoming with me. I grew up in Toledo, Ohio, and I started to talk to the elders in my neighborhood. And um, I met a man who asked me a very important question. He asked me, "Well, what do you guys eat?" I told him what we eat. We ate what black people ate in Ohio in the 60s. And he said, "Well, that's why your mother is sick." Uh, and then he took me outside and he introduced me to some indigenous plants. One of them is the dandelion plant. The dandelion plant grows everywhere, and it's the yellow flower that you see in the yard, and it also turns into a ball of seeds. He also introduced me to the burdock plant, which I ate both of them that day, and it had stickers that we got on our socks. And he told me that those plants would supply iron and would help to purify the blood. I immediately started eating those plants, and I started giving them to my mother and my sister. That began a long journey over 50 years ago of me studying herbs and different modules of healing. Uh, I studied iridology. I studied Chinese herbs. I read every herb book. Uh, I in probably 2002, I met Dr. Sebi, and Dr. Sebi was the only man who beat a case in the U.S. court system of practicing medicine without a license when he advertised in the Amsterdam News in 1986 that he cured AIDS, cancer, diabetes, sickle cell, and a number of diseases that hadn't been cured. And they arrested him. They told him to take it out of the newspaper, which he refused. And he was arrested. And in the court case, 77 of his patients stepped forward with their medical records proving that he cured all of these diseases. Uh, I met him probably, like I said, in 2002. We became very good friends. Our birthdays was actually 20 years and one day apart. Um, and but one of the most important things that I learned from him is that there's only one disease and there's never been two. It is inflammation. Inflammation is at the core of most problems that we're having. Where do we get this inflammation from? We get it from the foods that we are eating. We are basically eating a lot of man-made foods, fruits, vegetables, and meats. Uh, I want to pose a question, and then I'll answer the question. Is the cow an animal that God created? Most people would think yes. Well, the cow, like a lot of animals, like the dogs and cats that live in people's houses, have been crossbred with different animals. That would have never happened in nature. How the cow was made, they take the sperm from the ox and they put it in the buffalo, and also the yak. The difference between an animal that is natural in nature and one that has been created by man is the buffalo can live in a blizzard. He is equipped by the creator to deal with the cold. The cow would freeze. He needs a shot. He needs a barn. He needs to be fed. He needs to be led. The animals in nature don't need that. They don't need a doctor or a vet. So that's just one prime example. As far as plants, we have plants that man has crossbred with other plants. I'll give you some examples: broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, beets, celery.
Yes. Yes.
All are hybrids.
Yeah.
And so hybrids is a problem. And what happens is when you consume hybrids, your
Mhm.
body is in confusion because when the creator makes something, he puts a genetic code in it. When you eat it, your
Yeah.
body is intelligent and knows how to use it to build and repair. But if the body doesn't know what it is, it stores it as fat or inflammation. And that is the cause of most of these so-called diseases. I have, and what I learned from Dr. Sebi is called the African Biomineral Balance, whereby you take herbs, natural herbs, unhybrid herbs that assist the body in its natural ability to cleanse itself and then nourish itself on a cellular level. So my company is electriccellnutrition.com. And if you want to reach me, you can reach me through my website. I think I have one of my partners. I'm hearing some feedback now.
Thank you.
I think
Thank
one
you
of
so
my,
much. Can you just confirm if you can hear me?
I can hear you, but there's an echo on your voice.
There's a,
There's a kind of an echo.
would you turn up? Would you turn up? I don't know where that one is.
Technology is wonderful when it's working, isn't it?
Technology is awesome
Yes, it is. It's
when it
wonderful when
can
it's
serve as
working.
that. When it can serve as that. All right. Now, thank you so much for that wonderful information that you've really shared with us here, and it's it's a subject that is going to shape the history of our time. It's it's a it's a subject that is moving forward. It's going to speak to the conscience of our people. Now, there is a video that went viral, and before I even ask you that, before we move to the subject matter of today, Madagascar is a country in Africa, and they discovered herbal medicine that they claim that could heal and cure um, coronavirus, COVID-19. Without World Health Organization conducting a test to this, they were dismissed. Why is it that anything that comes from Africa and anything that is natural would be dismissed by the Western world?
Well, you have to understand that um, they are always going to try to prescribe a drug that most of the European countries or pharmaceutical countries can manufacture or vaccine for a solution. But the real solutions come from nature. Dr. Sebi told me to go back to the jungle because the most powerful herbs are in the jungle. The creator put herbs all over the planet, but especially around the equator for us. And usually with medicine, with doctors, it's a one size fits all. That does not work for Black people or people of
Yes,
indigenous sense because we have been here since the beginning of time and we have been using herbs since the
yes,
beginning of time. And that's what
yeah,
we have to go back to if we want real solutions. Usually a
yeah,
drug is not going to heal you. And they never say, but the body has amazing healing ability to heal itself
yeah,
if you give it the right things. The herbs with seeds that are natural is the solution. So I applaud Madagascar for not waiting on Western medicine to come up with a solution. We have to come up with our own solutions for our problems, because they're killing us. And they do not mean us well, because they want to control the resources.
All right. So, Mr. Ted Michel, I believe you can hear us, Mr. Ted.
Yes, I can hear you guys.
Wonderful. Would you allow us just to have your video on so that our audience also can see you?
At this moment, I cannot do the video. I was a little late and unprepared, so I apologize.
All right. It's all right. It's wonderful. So, brother, would you just kindly introduce yourself and, just a little background about yourself so that we can have, we can know the person we are talking to.
Yeah, absolutely. I stumbled along this journey when I was 15. My mother made a bet. She made a bet with me. She said that I bet you can't go a week without eating meat. So I went that week. I felt the best I've ever felt. And that's when I met Dr. Layla Africa. And I bought my first book, African Holistic Health. And I went straight. I never looked back. I became, I studied with Dr. Sabi, Dr. Goss of New Body Products. And the first person that I treated was my grandmother, and she was diagnosed with lupus. And so we worked with her for about 3 months, and she went back and she was re-diagnosed and said that she was misdiagnosed, what they like to do very often. And so she now does not have lupus. So she was cured. Or misdiagnosed, as they like to say. And since then, I've helped people with cancer. I've helped people with HIV and various other diseases, and all successfully. I wanted to answer a question that you asked to Bilal, and that question was, why don't they accept anything from Africa or nature? They can't patent anything from Africa or nature, so they can't make money from anything from Africa or nature. So that's why it's useless to them, because they can't patent it, they can't make money. And that's the answer from my perspective. But that's pretty much it. I've studied herbs and different natural mobilities. And I look forward to bringing some healing villages into the motherland. And I'm excited. This is beautiful. That's it. Are you guys there?
Yeah.
All right. So that's a little bit about my background, and I'm going to pass it back off to you guys.
Joseph, we can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Technology is beautiful when it works.
Can't hear you. There we go.
Okay, you can
There we
hear
go.
me.
There
Wow.
we go. We can
Now,
hear you.
Mr. Ted, I will call you Dr. Ted Michel. You're joining us from which country?
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm in the United States.
Atlanta, Georgia. So thank you so much. Now, I want to give the both of you, and I would give Mr. Thompson Bill the opportunity to give us to do a presentation and to educate us and to educate the world about the healing power of cannabis sativa and everything to do with marijuana. Then Mr. Ted, you will also come after him and also give your presentation and educate us And before you joined, I was saying that this presentation, we are recording it and we are going to reproduce it, interpret it in different African languages, and it will be rebroadcasted in different vernacular radio stations in 3 countries in Africa. So I'm very glad that you're going to share with us this wisdom. But I have this to say. Perhaps it might be misunderstood, but it doesn't matter whether it is misunderstood or not. Anything that is African is always abused. Everything that is natural is always overlooked by men and even people who want to make profit out of the suffering of human beings. And that is why we are dedicated to look for solutions that are coming from Mother Nature and that is coming from God the Creator Himself. And so we do not care about anybody else. We do not give attention to anybody else who would wish to make humanity a source of income and profit. And that is our declaration. And moving forward to Mr. Thompson and Bill, it's your time. Share with us the wisdom.
Absolutely. So cannabis is a plant that is from the Creator. We've used it since the beginning of time. It was outlawed in America and probably most of the world. When America was formed, the American flag was made from the fibers of hemp. All the paper was made from the fibers of hemp. George Washington and the other so-called founding fathers all were growing hemp or cannabis. Now there's different plants in the cannabis family. Hemp is one. It has less THC, but there are many medical benefits of cannabis. Cannabis basically is due to the phytocannabinoids. The CBD is predominantly, it occurs biologically. It has chemical compounds that react to the cannabinoid system that you already have in your body. Put a endocannabinoid system in your body, and when it comes in contact or it digests the cannabinoids and the THC, it knows what it is. Now, or digest the cannabinoids. In America, a lot of the cannabis that we're getting is hybrid and it has no seeds. But the natural plant that grows in the jungle has seeds. It actually, if they allowed it to grow, it would purify the atmosphere.
Okay.
It is a plant that has many uses other than the medicinal aspects of healing. It can be made into clothing, paper. We can make building materials out of it. The things that can be made is almost unlimited. It is shown to assist with cardiovascular issues, with respiratory issues, musculoskeletal issues, neurological issues. It also helps with epilepsy. It improves your lung capacity. It regulates and supports the body's natural ability to deal with diabetes. It also helps with pain, with cancer, with depression. Helps to regulate seizures. But again, a lot of the cannabis now is grown in a mono situation, not like it's grown in nature. And so we need to get back to the natural cannabis with seeds as a medicine, like the
Yes.
other natural herbs and like the other
Mm-hmm.
plants.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, a way for countries to move towards legalization, and I'm going to let Todd speak to this because he knows a lot about it, is
Yes.
to there's different cannabis plants. Like the hemp is different than the cannabis. It doesn't have as much THC in it.
Mm-hmm.
And in most nations that have been colonized and the
Mm-hmm.
other ones that have been freed, like you said, they're still operating on the colonial laws that outlaw cannabis, and it shouldn't
Yeah.
be outlawed.
Sure. Very wonderful. You've said that cannabis sativa has the ability to enhance the heart ability. Does this mean that things to do with heart failure and high blood pressure would easily be controlled if somebody take off or partake of cannabis sativa?
I didn't understand the first part of the question.
Um, in your presentation, I did hear you say that cannabis sativa or marijuana has the ability to enhance heart ability.
Well, it has
So,
the ability to enhance the body's natural ability. See, the body has natural ability to heal itself, and it's looking for the right fuel. If you give the
mhm,
body the right minerals, the right plants, then
mhm,
it can do magic. Um, it can, like I said, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, a lot
mhm,
of problems, tumors.
mhm,
I have patients or clients with cancer that were in
yes,
excruciating pain,
yeah,
that were taking morphine,
mhm,
and I
mhm,
suggested that they make a tea out of
mhm,
cannabis with seeds, and
mhm,
immediately their pain was decreased significantly.
mhm.
So it is amazing when you can give the body what it needs. It can do amazing things. It can do amazing work.
All
And
right. So yeah. So just to get you rightly, when we talk about and I think we're going to talk about this a little later, immediately after this. It is to say that we can make tea just like coffee, and tea just like coffee and other beverages. We can use it to make tea, which has amazing health effect on our bodies.
absolutely,
So
absolutely, we can.
yes.
But when you make tea out of it, it is much more powerful than when you smoke it.
Okay.
Uh,
Now,
so
just hold up there. I don't want you to move past that because I want you to share with us various methods in which we can consume cannabis sativa. So just hold it there. May I bring Mr. Todd to share with us his aspects and understanding of cannabis sativa and how it can be of benefit, to human nature. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
I just want you to share with us your background on cannabis sativa and marijuana and the health benefit that it has to humanity, and perhaps demystify the myth behind outlawing cannabis sativa in many countries. And I saw your video, you're in a very good background. I don't know why you don't want us to share, you don't want us to see you. We'll be glad to see you, bro.
It was
Yeah.
very loud outside. My wife is working inside, so it's hard.
Okay, all right. It's
Yeah.
all right. Okay.
So the benefits of cannabis, I believe Bilal went over that very, very well. I don't really have much more to offer than that. Far as the ways to consume the myths of marijuana. The reason why marijuana has been suppressed so much, especially here in America, is because cotton was its competitor, and cotton and oil didn't want to go up against cannabis. Cannabis doesn't do the same things to the soil that cannabis does. Cannabis gives back to the soil. Cotton takes away from the soil. It's a very aggressive weed. It grows. It doesn't take a lot of cultivation, so it's a very easy plant to manage, especially in the wild and when it's done properly, and not in the mono growth that they do here in America, where they have just warehouses, indoor warehouses, and fake lights where they grow it up under. Cannabinoids, like Bilal mentioned, are something that our body naturally accepts. We have receptors on our cells that accept cannabinoids. It's something that is good for the human body. It's something that the body accepts. It's not a foreign substance that we will reject. So it's in that sense, it helps. In that sense, it makes it very easy for our body to accept the wisdom that it has to give us. Give me the question that you guys that I was here to answer is, why in Africa aren't we using it? Was that the question?
Why is it outlawed in many countries in Africa? And bearing in mind that 50 or 60 years after independence, we are still using the colonial laws that were brought by foreigners. And those laws outlaws the consumption not only of cannabis sativa, but even natural herbs, medicine that we should be using to nourish ourselves.
That's a great question. It's the same reason why we just now started using it here in America. I lived in Zimbabwe for 2 years, and during that time we were trying to get them to do marijuana. By the time I left, they just started to accept, and they accepted marijuana. So there are states in countries in Africa that are adopting cannabis. I think South Africa is another one. Ghana, I believe, may be another one. But for the most part, it's not, from my understanding. And it's the same reason. They don't know how to tax it. They don't know how it has been demonized. People think that it's a gateway drug. You're going to go from that to crack or something else. So the reason why is, one, the propaganda against it, and that's why we have shows like this, so we can demystify and debunk the information that they're giving, which isn't true. Marijuana, it can be abused, but when it's abused, guess what? You're going to fall asleep and eat a little bit. You're not going. You're not going to kill yourself.
Absolutely. You're not going to OD.
I get it. I think that is a very beautiful point that is bringing me to the next question. I'm glad that you're saying that when marijuana is abused, you only just going, when you take it in excess, the worst can happen to you. You're going to feel asleep. You're not going to die. Unlike Panadol and unlike malaria queen, and any other drug that will kill you instantly.
Or opiates.
Opiate
addiction is a major problem worldwide. And the cannabis, consuming the cannabis, you could get rid of pain and a lot of other issues without the opiates.
I see. Now, in my country, and maybe I'm cutting you off, Mr. Michel, but you're going to pick it up from there and continue.
No, you're not cutting me off at all. No. Bilal did such a good job by going first, it left me with nothing. That's all.
You captured everything. All right. Now, uh, we are told that cannabis sativa or marijuana in my language, it's called jaga. And I don't know, these young boys call it. How do you call marijuana?
It's called Shash.
Shash, it's called shash. It has many names. Number one, it causes madness, that you can become mad when you consume it. And also it causes memory loss. Then you become a criminal and automatically you are branded a thief when you consume marijuana. Now, what are some of the side effects that would come with marijuana before we can recommend it to anybody? Before we move to the next stage, how do we consume it?
Well,
I could speak to that
okay.
a little bit, but go ahead, Todd, and I'll come in after you.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Yeah. Okay. So one, I personally uh, don't believe that marijuana does those things in its natural state. We find that people spray and add different chemicals, or in the growing process, something has happened that changed the DNA of it or something. In my experience in growing and cultivating and producing products with marijuana, I don't see that happening in a natural state. In America, there's a common practice where people spray cannabinoids, they spray different chemicals on it. And I believe that may be where people may have some issues. What do from, so I don't believe those things will happen. But again, if you have an issue like that, you can always just have CBD. CBD has no psychotropic effect, or very minimal, and you get all the benefits and health of the marijuana that you would with THC. It has just as many healing factors and things like that. Bilal?
Mr. Tor, what is CBD and what is THC?
CBD is technically CBD are the phytocannabinoids, and the THC is really called the
Delta 9s.
Delta 9s, the technical name is tetrahydrocannabinoids. And those cannabinoids interact with your endocannabinoids, which the creator put in you. So as soon as you take them, your body knows what to do with that medicine. Now, I have myself, I'm 66 years old. I started smoking cannabis when I was probably 17. So
you started smoking cannabis when you were 17 years old and you were 67 now?
Absolutely. And it never made me a criminal.
Okay.
The reason why is because when I was younger, every time I drank alcohol, which is very detrimental to your system, I would fight. It would always be a fight.
Absolutely.
And so alcohol never worked for me as even socially. And cannabis always relaxed me. And if you look at people that use cannabis and people that use alcohol is worse for you than cannabis. When people get drunk, there's always a fight. When they smoke cannabis, we end up laughing and doing music and enjoying ourselves. So it is a lie what they how they vilified cannabis, and they vilified it for financial reasons. Another reason also is that DuPont wanted to make polyester, and the hemp fabric was more durable, and it was cost effective, and it was a stronger fabric and better for you to even have on. If we had our clothing made from hemp, your skin would actually be able to breathe better than when you have on polyester. So it was vilified for financial reasons, basically.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And medical reasons as
We are
well, because
And
it was
metal
also used to treat, and it was
absolutely.
also used to treat many diseases prior to the 1800s.
Absolutely.
Marijuana was in almost every single mixture or tincture, and they vilified it because anybody can make it and grow it, so they had to take it out, and so they can profit from so the medical system can then come in and profit from it. So that as well.
Now, what I'm learning here, and what will be of interest to most governments, I think along our conversation, what I'm getting is that the governments do not know how to tax marijuana or cannabis sativa. Now, because of tax, perhaps all governments would want to run away from it. How do we make our governments to want to tax this? And I'm telling this again, perhaps I might be going a little first. Among the benefits of cannabis sativa, it has immense benefits in soil. It's not taken from the mother nature, but it's
Absolutely.
adding to the mother nature. That in a garden, for example, of potatoes or of maize, if it's grown in there, it might add value to any other plant. So how do we make our government to understand these values to the natural resource, to the soil, and how do we enable our governments to understand that they can tax this and make money out of it to run their governments?
Well, California is the gold standard there. So in America, most people go by California, and they have a tag. They have a tag from growth. They tag each plant, and they track the plant from farmer to consumer, and that's how they're able to tax. So there's software now, and that makes it very easy for the governments to tax. Places like Colorado, they made so much money to revive their cities. And Bilal probably has the data because he's sitting in front of that computer. I know he has the data to pull up, how much tax revenue these cities are getting for to revitalize. We're talking, this is billion. They're collecting billions of dollars in taxes here in America just on the cannabis, and they have systems that you can purchase and programs that we can purchase, that the governments can purchase to track, and you just hire people to go out and make sure and enforce it, so it also will create more jobs, and it's not that hard. It's already done. All they have to do is copy.
No, I think a country like East Africa and a country like Uganda and Tanzania, I think they do not have any problem with the growing of marijuana and cannabis sativa. We might be able to grow these plants, but how and where do we sell them, and how do we sell them? Is there any connection to the market, to young farmers who might be able to do this?
Yeah, so what you do is you create a market. If you create stores, they call them in America dispensaries. So you will set up dispensaries. The farmers will sell to the dispensaries. Dispensaries will sell to a third party in dispensaries. Dispensaries will make the products. They will then sell the products in the store. Whatever regulation, if it's an age regulation, or if it's medical marijuana, they need an ID. They would have to set those that infrastructure up for the people to be able to enter the store and purchase. Marijuana, I have found people have a natural love for it. So if the store is open, they will go and they will buy.
And in most countries, people are using cannabis anyway. And
Right.
I myself don't like the whole taxing system and the control of cannabis in California, because to me, most of the cannabis, I wouldn't even use it because it doesn't have seeds. It's hybrid and it's
Absolutely.
controlled, and the it's always about money with
Right.
everything in this world. But I really think that they
Money.
have the system for cannabis is how it's being grown and how it's how it's regulated and controlled. Anytime something is done just for money, there's a problem. But when we get
Corruption.
Yeah.
back to the revenues of cannabis, like in 2019, the revenue jumped over 33%, surpassing 1.9 billion in 2019. So that's how much tax revenue that was actually made, that could be made. But there has to be a natural system. And I think people should have the ability to grow their own cannabis as well, without
Absolutely.
everything being controlled by a government.
And I
Yes.
agree with everything he's saying, but the question was asked, how could they do it? So
Right.
that's how they could do it. But he's right. Soon as you tax it and you make it, and people see that there's an income, you're gonna have people like Monsanto's. You're gonna have people like Bayer and all these other people coming in, giving you synthetic and poor quality,
Absolutely.
uh, high psychoactive marijuana, and it's going to smell and look great, but it's going to be horrible for the body. So, and it's going to be genetically modified. So, and we know we don't want any of that alien genes entering our body no more than they're already doing to us now.
I get you right. Now, perhaps we can go to another level. How is it consumed, and how does it nourishes the body? Because when I was growing up, um, there's some medication that we were given when I was a young person, and there are roots of many plants that could be extracted from the ground, and leaves, and they could be boiled in a pot, and we could be covered on a blanket, and we could inhale the steam, pure steam of these things, and I could sweat largely, and after sweating, I could go for a very long time without being sick. That is one way. Steaming oneself with the natural herbs is one way of nourishing and healing ourselves. But now, how do we go about consuming cannabis sativa? Is it
There's
about
a
smoking only, or there are other ways we can go about this?
there are many ways that you can use cannabis. You can smoke it. You could make tea out of it. You could put it in your food. You can also make all kind of products out of it that can be consumed orally, meaning you could eat it. So there's many ways to consume cannabis. You could also make products that you could put on the skin for pain. You could infuse it in oils. You could take the cannabis and put it in the blender with some oil, and if you had pain, you could rub it on the area and it would work. It's many ways that you could consume it. It is another cell food, so to
Right.
speak, and it can nourish you and give your body what it needs on a cellular level,
True.
especially
And
if it's natural with seeds.
absolutely. And the thing, like, as far as consuming, the closer you can keep it to natural, without having to highly process it, take it through machines, press it, uh, drain it, put it in alcohol, different winterization, the different techniques that they do to extract the stuff. The closer you can get it to its whole form is the best way to take it. So teas are good. Chews can even be good. So it's just different ways, but the typical way is smoking, and smoking is fine. It's not the best for the lungs, but it is a way to do it as well.
Well, they found that people that smoke cannabis, it actually improves the lung capacity, and the lung is not being harmed like it is with cigarettes. Cigarettes have over 5,000 chemicals. Cannabis, the cannabinoids, your body knows exactly what to do with it. But it's the problem, like I said, with most of this hybrid cannabis is the chemicals that they use to grow it in a mono type of way. When I say mono, things in nature don't just grow one plant, all this one plant in a room under some fake lights. That's not how things grow in nature. Things grow in nature. The plant grows. The male and female interact. Seeds are produced. Those seeds fall. New plants grow. That's how it happens in nature. Under a mono system, everything is controlled. The soil is controlled. The fertilizer is controlled, and so the weed will be different. And a lot of the cannabis that you can buy at the dispensary, it has a high number of THC and pesticide, because anytime you hybridize a plant, everything in nature is trying to destroy that plant. So the ticks, the bugs, everything is attacking it. So then they have to use some type of pesticides to protect it. In nature, a natural cannabis plant, there are some insects that will eat some of it, but it doesn't matter. It's still not going to hurt the plant or kill it. So
now, I think I don't want to take much of your time in this show, but I just want us to go specific. There are different ways of consuming cannabis sativa and marijuana. One of them is smoking. I just want to go step by step. We have smoking.
Right.
We have taking it in tea. We can take it as food, and also we can apply it as oil, added content as oil to apply on our body. So I want us to go step by step, and Mr. Thompson and Todd, I want you to go step by step in educating our people and educating us on how we can do it. And we start with smoking before we go to taking as tea. As smoking.
Okay, great. So you can make a tincture, and you can take it in drops. So a tincture would be 80 proof alcohol, and you will leave it in there for a period of time, shake it up, chop it up, and then you can then take it as a dropper in the mouth. Is very potent that way. That's one way, other than smoking. And the other way that I like is I make a seasoning out of it. So I add other seasonings and I put that seasoning in it and I cook with it. And it's a great way to take marijuana as well. Smoking, vaping.
So, just there, to make it a seasoning, you got to grind it to be a powder like, or how is it done?
Okay, so basically what you would do is you would take your favorite seasoning, whatever seasoning mixture you have, and you would add approximately about a third of marijuana that's broken up into that seasoning, and you make sure it's shaken up really well, and then you use it if you're making eggs, if you're making stew or whatever you normally make it with. You use that seasoning and it will flavor, and you will definitely feel the effects of know that you are eating marijuana after about 30 or 40 minutes. So be very careful.
Yeah, you have to you have to make sure you don't use too much, because the effect will last a long time when you ingest it. When you eat it in food, you will feel the effects of it for almost for the whole day. Where
Right.
when you smoke it, the effect doesn't last as long. So you
So,
will.
so just to get you correctly, if you eat it in food, if you eat marijuana in food, the effect will
Or
last
any
longer
fat.
than when you smoke
Or
it.
any fat.
Absolutely. It lasts much
Absolutely.
it lasts much longer because your body gets more of the cannabinoids when you ingest it than when you smoke it, because when you smoke it, the cannabinoids is actually being burned, and it changes it somewhat, and it's ingested by your lung.
So just to ask the both of you, um, um, Mr. Thompson, you said that you are 60, 67, or
I'm
50?
66. I'll be 67 this year.
You're about to be 67 years old, and you started
Yes,
using this when you were 13 years old.
absolutely. When I was 17, after I
And
graduated from high school.
Mr. Michel, you are how old
Yes.
again? How old are you?
I will be 47.
47. And so
Yes.
you've been taking this for how long?
Well, I didn't wait until after high school, put it that way.
I hear you. Yes.
So,
Now,
yeah. And then Bilal did mention another way to also take that. It is rubbing it on your skin.
I don't want us to
In
go
low.
there yet. I don't want us to go there yet. I'm just still on this point of how I don't want us to go to that. Let's say you're coming there. But now, by smoking it, we can confirm for all those years that it doesn't cause madness, and also it doesn't cause memory loss, because as I look at you, you're very upright and you're very okay, gentlemen. And what we are told here is just a mirage of so many other things that do not exist. And those that are telling us that marijuana causes memory loss and it causes madness, they've not even gone to any laboratory to test the same. So I would say that it's a mere fallacy that do not have any truth in it. Would you back me up in that confirmation?
I would say in that fact that it's an outright lie. But
Yep.
But there are a lot of
Complete propaganda.
Yeah, complete propaganda to discourage everybody from smoking marijuana. I would say that alcohol is much worse for your memory and much worse for your health, your liver, your kidney. So I would say it's a complete lie. And what it actually does is it relaxes you to the point to where, for me, I'm a musician as well and a singer. And when I smoke marijuana, it tunes me into other frequencies of elevation towards the music.
I hear you.
So, absolutely.
I hear
And
you.
it is. I have seen many ways that people get high, and cannabis is for me the best, and it is also has been the best for pain. There was a time when I had a pinched nerve in my back and I was in excruciating pain. I used cannabis for pain relief, and it works very effectively, and I was able to use just that and not take cannabinoids and take my pain down, so that I didn't need opiates.
I see.
Yeah.
So
So
I
The
did
I
it
was
only
without
thing that I the
opiates.
only thing that I would rival marijuana with pain is ice. But
I
uh,
And when you use both
marijuana for
together,
natural is huh?
when you use both together, it's
It's amazing,
phenomenal. It's
phenomenal.
amazing.
okay. Now, as a person, what I want to recommend and what I got to say, anybody on planet that is hosted by Mother Earth who would want to reject the healing effect of marijuana, you come to us and come to me with proofs, tested proofs that marijuana doesn't work, confirmed in every laboratory. And with that confidence, or do I say that I recommend marijuana consumption to every living human being on earth, and any government, any authority that would want to object that must come to us with proofs that negates this statement moving forward. I believe that that declaration now brings us to this effect. We've had in our country and in our continent, and as Malcolm X did say one day and at one point, that who taught you to hate yourself? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin? That you'd want to apply oil to change the color of your skin to be brown or white? How do we apply marijuana in our appliances and oil that nourishes our body that would give us medicinal effect in our black skin, the skin that was created by God Himself? Over to you.
Well, how do we apply it to our skin? How I apply it is I'm a maker of products and always have been. So usually I infuse it in some type of oil or shea butter or coconut oil, some natural oil. And it's not hard. You could just take the dried cannabis, put it in the blender with the oil, pulverize it,
Yes.
and then let that set. And the properties from the cannabis would be extracted into the oil and rub it on
Well,
your skin
you might want to activate it. You might want before you infuse it with the
to
oil.
heat
You
it.
may want to leave it in the you put it in the oven for about 30-40 minutes at 200 to activate the delta 9.
What are some of the health benefits on the skin when it's applied on the skin? Does the skin absorb it? Then it gets into you, or what are some of the benefits that it has on the skin?
Will you address that, Todd? How I always used it was for pain, topically. As
All
far as
right, all
using
right.
it for skin, um, I don't know. I can't speak to that. So maybe
Well,
you can speak to that, Todd.
well, the skin is the biggest organ we have, and it's our barrier, but it's also it absorbs. So just
Mhm.
as it's just a different way instead of going through the digestive system or through the lungs, you're just taking
All
it
right.
in through the skin. And again, this is not a foreign thing to the body. The body has use for cannabinoids, so it's going to take it and use it for pain. It's going to take it and use it and heal whatever area you're trying to, or help heal whatever area that you're rubbing it on that is needed. It's just another way to absorb it into the body.
I
Now,
hear you.
a lot of students that and people with attention deficit disorder (ADD) and ADHD have been helped greatly by cannabis. With people that can't focus, it has been proven that it enhances performance in those areas as
Yeah.
well. So in the and a lot of children are being given Adderall and what's that other one?
Ritalin. Is it
Ritalin, which has some very negative side effects that cannabis don't have, that would actually be better for them than taking that drug.
Absolutely. Now,
One of our
what
listeners, yes.
you asked a question about color and how would it help Black people, and my answer is this: is from my first teacher in health, or my second teacher in health, actually, Layla O. Africa, who died recently this year. In his last statement that he's interview that I've heard from him, he said, in order for Black people to win, we can win overnight. And
Yeah.
he said, all we have to do is go back to our culture. And what that means to
Yes.
me is, if we go back to the earth, we go back to our communities, we stop trying to be
Yes.
like the Western man, we will
Absolutely.
overcome this beast immediately.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
and what the Western man is looking for, everything that they are because of Africa. Every medicine world over is made from the natural herbs, and most of these herbs are gotten from Africa. And they take these herbs, they improve them, then they sell it back as medicine. As a matter of fact, the first
Don't
surgery
ever
that
say,
has
wait, they do not improve them. They do not improve them. They
They don't
isolate
improve them.
them.
They isolate.
They cannot improve on
They
God.
can
They
see.
isolate.
They don't improve them. They
all
really
right.
take the things that God created and they isolate it, and they take it out, and usually it's a chemical process, and give it back to you and say, okay, this is great, but it was
All right.
already great. It was already
It was
great
already
absolutely. It was already greater than what they did. They're actually diminishing it when they anytime when the creator makes something, he puts a genetic code in it, and when you
yes.
ingest it, your body reads that code and knows how to break it down, right?
Yes.
When you take a natural thing and you separate it, now the
Yeah.
body is still in confusion and does not get the full benefit of it. So
I
you
see.
have to have more of it, and
I
so now it's a drug.
I
So we
get
have
you.
to get as close to the natural as we can.
I
Absolutely.
hear you very clearly. Now, I was going to ask something that I think is escaping my memory now.
Oh,
I was
I
gonna
apologize.
maybe
say, no,
maybe you need some cannabis.
I think I need some kind of. No, I think.
Just as a side note, there's plenty of white scientists and studies done by people that prove that marijuana works. So we don't. It's nothing that we have to make up, or it's just two Black
Absolutely.
guys from America saying that it's good. If you don't want to take our word, there's tons of studies that says marijuana works and how it works, and so if you need that kind of Western something to back that, then you can easily go to any one of the studies and check them out and read them.
It also
You
helps
know,
with side effects with a whole bunch of issues that people have. Individuals with so-called Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. Also, it reduces the side effects from the treatments, the drug treatments that they give you for hepatitis C. So, and also it helps with the tremors associated with Parkinson. It helps with so many different things because it relaxes the nervous system and nourishes it.
So what I'm going to do before the year comes to a close, most of the governments, including the Kenyan government, that has outlawed the consumption and growing of cannabis sativa and marijuana. They do not have any data, neither do they have any medical proof to negate this. So one of my duties this year, number one, is to sue the government and to revolutionize the educational system of our country. Number two, I want to prove from the government that marijuana indeed has negative side effects and it does not have medicinal value. I want that from them. Many doctors right now in our country are prescribing drugs that are laced with marijuana for pain relief. So I do not just want us to consume every law, every instruction, and everything that has been given to us by the colonial governments and by the Western world. I want things that work for our people and that works for us. I did read the Bible verse here, which is in Genesis chapter 1, 29. And it says that, and God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of the tree yielding seed. Now, I'm wondering who this person is who is negating every herb that giveth seed that must not be consumed by humanity. We got to reject everything, and we must put our narrative and we must put our agenda without relying and believing ignorantly of things that are affronted before us, that are meant to kill us. My grandfather, the father to my grandfather, lived for 113 years. And he was smoking something. There is something that he was smoking. I don't know what that. I was very young at that point when he was about to die. But he was smoking at that time. I was a toddler, but he was smoking something. That guy had smoked for more than 100 years, smoking and still living. My grandfather was a smoker up to 94, smoking. But now we are told that with the coming of cigarette, you smoke cigarette for 50 years and you are gone. Your lung is vibrating more than Sony Sugar Company that produces sugar, and you get confused more than anything. And we brought alcohol, foreign alcohol, that you take for 2 weeks, and you take it for 2 weeks, you cannot even satisfy your wife. You are dead completely as a man. And so I want the government of Kenya to tell us and to tell me and to tell our people the reason as to why they are legalizing things that kill us. Alcohol has killed so many people in this country. Alcohol has killed billions and millions of people in this Africa, in this continent. I've never had one case of somebody who is smoking marijuana who has died because of smoking marijuana. I've never heard of that case. I just want to be told who has died because of this, gentlemen.
Absolutely. So I agree with you 100%.
Very powerful.
We must learn to reject things, not because a colored person named a white person. And by the way, I've never seen a white man in my life. I've never seen anybody white as pepper in my life.
Absolutely.
And I've never seen anybody black in my life.
Absolutely.
We are branded people of color. We are branded so many named Negroes. We are in Africa. Anything African is called local. Everything New York is called international. Everything African is local and traditional. Everything New York, Canada, France is international. These are stupid beliefs that we must reject in totality.
Well, we must change them.
We got to change it.
We got to change it.
We got to change it completely.
We have to change it.
Yeah. We
We
got
have
to
to change it.
and I tell my people in Africa, when the white man lands in any airport, be it in JKIA, in Uganda, in Mogadishu, in South Africa, you get black people parading themselves and dancing with regalia that this is traditional dance. We dance to the white man. I'm looking forward to the time and when I will come to America and Germany and Canada next time when I land there. I would want to see the white man dancing for us in the airport and welcoming us in their country and telling us that this is traditional dance in America. We do not want stupidity that we've been taken to. And this is what I'm saying. Our people fought for the independence. We are struggling to stand on our feet. Our parents have betrayed us. Every law that was made by a white man in Africa must collapse. We are only going to be with laws that nourishes us and that prolongs our lives, that our life expectancy must not be defined by some foreign organizations called World Health Organization, that health expectancy or life expectancy in Kenya is 46 or 72. We got to redefine it by consuming our natural herbs to be 95, 96, 105, the way it was before. You know, Mr. Thompson, it was your day today. I don't want to be hurt by some of the injustices that have happened, in our lives. So we are 1 hour, 16 minutes to the show. And out of the show, perhaps I'll give another 15 minutes, you and Mr. Todd, just to take us to the closing remarks. And I believe you're going to organize another show on how we should be consuming different methods and ways of consuming it, maybe for 30 minutes in a different show. To you, Mr. Thompson.
Well, the marijuana is one thing that we definitely need to worldwide change the laws and make it so that it is legal.
Yes.
But also, most of the indigenous plants and most of the healing plants, a lot of them are not being used for healing. Just like you said that Madagascar came up with a cure for the coronavirus. Well, in my opinion, the coronavirus is like a flu, and it's not like you catch it and you fall down and die. So, but it is something that has been marketed and marketed in such a way where everybody's walking around wearing a mask. And that is you breathing your own carbon dioxide. If you're walking around with a mask on in 100-degree temperature, you are compromising your own immune system. Our bodies are experts. Our immune systems are experts at dealing with germs, bacteria, and viruses. It has since before you came out the womb. Yeah. So it's just another example of marketing. And so when we get back to cannabis, what I want to say is, and with all natural herbs, we have to go back to what our ancestors have done for thousands of years and use the things that God created in order to give our bodies what it needs to heal itself, because the body has amazing healing abilities. And if you give it the right things, it can do amazing work. And we have to question laws, and we also have to question the medical Western medicine. We have to question all of it. If you are taking drugs, have you ever looked up the side effects to those drugs. Have you ever questioned the doctor and not just taken his word? I have some questions that I ask any doctor. One of them, the first question I ask the doctor is nutrition important in my healing or my health? That's question number one. Question number two is, how much study have you done with natural nutrition? Question number two. Question number three, do you believe in the natural herbs as part of healing? How they answer their questions will determine if they are my doctor. The doctor works for you. Your medical benefits pay him. He works for you. And so you should always question whatever you are taking. Cannabis, it does need to be deregulated. And it needs to be legal to use and not vilified. Somebody should not go to jail for having some cannabis. They should go to jail for having some alcohol. And that's just in my opinion. And some of these other drugs that are being abused. So that's my take on it. If God didn't make it, don't take it.
If God didn't make it, do not take it. That is the greatest message that I'm getting from Mr. Thompson Billal and Mr. Todd. You were there. Would you just give us your closing remarks? And by the way, I have good gentlemen here who must give their opinion. We're talking about cannabis sativa, negative effects of it, positive effects of it. And I have very wonderful gentlemen here that would also give their, opinion about marijuana, cannabis sativa, and how they've been treated maybe by the police for using it. So, Mr. Todd, would you talk to us? Your closing remarks, sir?
Okay, so the closing remarks again, like always, Bilal steals the show. So, all I can do is echo what he's saying. If it's God has given us things for our health that we completely ignore today. He's given us sunlight. He's given us the air we breathe, which is the most consumed food that this body runs on. And we breathe shallowly, and we have to learn how to breathe. So breathing exercises are very important, and guess what? They're also free. Sun is free. Food, if we eat the natural food, and Bilal was very versed. Dr. Sabi was a great teacher, and Bilal is excellent. He picked up the mantle and ran with it. Electric foods with seeds, foods that we can grow, herbs we can grow, or that grow naturally without us even doing anything. These are the strongest things that we can consume, and they're also free. So we need to take these modalities that are around us for free to reclaim who we are, so we don't have to worry about a doctor, because the body is the biggest, is the best physician that we have. And our pharmacy is nature.
I get you.
So, okay. And so as far as medical marijuana, it falls aligned with all those other things. You can grow it. It has numerous benefits. Anybody can Google it. You can see all the benefits. You can Google the studies. It's already been said. So, and in the beginning of this thing, Bilal went over every single thing very, very meticulously, and he did a great job. So,
wonderful, and I hear you. So, we have, gentlemen, marijuana is outlawed in this country, and nobody is allowed to talk about it. But people consume it nevertheless. It's grown nevertheless, and
absolutely.
As good as, it has to be grown, it has to be consumed, but they don't want to speak about it. But we have a gentleman here. I don't know if you can be able to see them. Yes, we can see them well. So I don't know if you can just speak to, just say hi to our guys here. You look at yourself on the screen. You're already there.
Peace, brothers. How y'all doing?
Yeah, it's about just
It's about
And
marijuana.
please,
In Kenya, you're gonna be beaten by police. If they take it illegally, it's not good in Kenya. That's what I can say. It's a very bad thing in Kenya.
Yeah, so just put on this. Yes, Mr. Bill, you can hear him?
I
Yeah,
can't
about
hear you.
marijuana in Kenya, it's a very bad thing. Gonna be beaten by police. They don't want marijuana in Kenya. So about marijuana, we can talk anymore about it. Just like that. It's a very bad thing.
Yeah, so it's a subject that it only Canadians people can talk about. So the gentleman is even scared of speaking about marijuana here. So we have another gentleman here. He's there. He's even hiding. You know, you see him there.
hey, there was a time in America where we couldn't talk about it either.
We wouldn't talk
and we were
about
being
it either.
arrested,
Absolutely.
and people are still in jail. And believe it or not, so they are slowly being released because it has now become widely legal in America.
Right.
So our prayers are that we can, through these talks, we can get together and figure out how to make some changes in these laws because they don't make sense.
Absolutely.
You can sell us alcohol, you can, which makes us reckless. It's dangerous for the body, unhealthy. But you won't sell us something that's from the earth that God has given us. We have to stop it, but we have to get in front of the people who make decisions.
Yeah, we can take drugs with all kind of side effects, and it's totally legal. But if you're caught with marijuana, you're beaten. So that is it's really crazy, and we have to question all of these laws, and we have to demand some changes. That's what has to happen.
I didn't get your last statement. I didn't get your last statement, though. Let me also give you a gentleman here. Will you just speak something to this effect? Just come. Yeah. Come easy. I have the earphones on, you know, and we've been there.
Okay, in regards to marijuana in Kenya, the thing is very illegal, and it's not that it's not beneficial. It's kind of beneficial, but we don't know why they keep banning it. So, and it's not that it has any negative effects. You see, anyone who has ever used it can say it's good in a way, but when you misuse it, that's when trouble happens. But I don't know why they legalize it yet. It's naturally existing and it's God-made. So in Kenya, if the government finds you with marijuana, you are in for it. So in my opinion, I don't know why the thing has to be legalized. I support it should be very legal in Kenya, even though I don't use, but it should be legal. Yes, thank you.
Wow, that is powerful. That's powerful.
Absolutely.
So that is what we are talking about here, Mr. Council Bill. We need to create a lot of awareness about marijuana around. And I believe we can organize the next conversation about this, that we talk about different methods of consumption, and just like any other drug, the side effects that comes with it and how to regulate it. When I was in primary school, we were told that when you smoke marijuana, your lips got to be black, and your hands must be very black, very black. But I look at you, your lips are not black, and if you show me your hands, I believe they're not going to be, they're not black. So we got to
more
be
more lies. More lies. You know, we've been lied to about everything. And you know, it's time for us to pull the covers off of all of these lies and tell the truth. No, my lips have never been black, you know, and my hands are not going to turn black. If they were, they would have been very black.
Yeah, sure. You know, for all those, 50 years in this, and you're just as handsome as you were, and much younger than our young men that I see, you know. Yes, Mr.
the natural herbs keep you young. Our bodies were made to live a long time. The problem is we've gotten away from the things that are natural. And so that's why we are dying at a high rate. We're smoking cigarettes, we're drinking alcohol, we're taking medications, we're eating fake food, man-made meat, and it's controlled. And like I said, if God didn't make it, don't take it. Eat to live, don't live to eat.
Great. Mr. Todd.
Yes.
Oh, we got a chance to see him.
Yes, sir.
So my lips aren't black either.
I can see, man. I can see.
My hands aren't black. So, yeah. So I just wanted you guys to get a look at me real quick before, so you can see that, we don't have, my eyes aren't red, we you can consume it and it's not a big deal.
Sure.
All right.
So thank you so very much, gentlemen, for coming over to this show. And I'm very grateful because myself, I've given my life to speak to hard issues, things that people would not dare speak about. And we are about to challenge every norm and every regulation that is meant to control us. Why would somebody give us chicken in the cities of Nairobi? We have, how can you consume a chicken that is 6 weeks old? At 6 weeks old, a chicken is as big as a rabbit, a fully grown rabbit. We are consuming things that should not be consumed by human beings. And
absolutely,
yet they are permitted by the government. But natural things that grow from the ground are prohibited. And they're used by doctors somewhere, as a medical prescription to our health. So I've given myself to liberate our people, and in my small way, and in our small way, we have to enlighten our people. And people got to grow these things, and we must provide markets for these things. And in our next show, as we're going to talk next week, if you'll be available, gentlemen, let's learn on how different methods of taking this herb, natural weed. In some quarters, it's called the holy weed or the holy fruit. In our country, we call it the holy fruit. Different methods, different ways of consuming it and partaking of it to the benefit of our people. It's time that we got to reject all and everything that is brought by the white man. The black man must shut their own path and their own ways. So thank you. I'll give you 2 minutes or 1.5 minutes each just to give your closing remarks, and I will start with Mr. Tom.
I thought I already gave my closing remarks, but okay, good.
You get another closing remark.
Another closing remark.
This is yes. So that is dear to us.
So far as marijuana and cannabis, I look forward to having some different ways that you guys can consume it, some different recipes, some really easy ways to do it at home, where there is no smell or no evidence of it other than the internal effects. I will have that ready for you guys next time. All I can say is this: be strong, question everything, because we've been told a lot of lies. And until we get past our own ignorance and we start questioning things we think we know, we won't find the truth. So we have to question everything, and we have to start standing up for ourselves. We have to speak out. You have to do very brave podcasts like this, so people can understand that you have to speak about it. If you don't speak about it, then they're going to keep. No one's going to do anything. So I commend you guys on being very brave there in Kenya, and God bless you guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, Mr. Thompson.
Yes, brother Joseph. I want to again. I want to echo what I now have to follow behind Todd. I want to echo that. I applaud you for putting this together. This is very brave, but it's so needed. And we have to stand up. Like he said, we need to question all of these laws. We need to question everything that the European has brought to Africa, and stand up for ourselves. And we got to chart our own course. Nobody is going to come and save us. We have to be a self-saviors. So to the entire diaspora worldwide, I love you, and we need to chart a new course for this next century, where we get back to what our ancestors ate and used to make us the strongest people to build civilization worldwide. I also want to say that we all, in every country, should people of African descent and indigenous descent, because in America, all of us didn't come here on a slave ship. Some of us were already here. Africans were on the continent for thousands of years. The Olmec people left big black heads all throughout South America. But every time we here in America we came over on a slave ship. So we have been a black people. We were here at the beginning of time. And in order for us to be strong enough to build civilization, we got to go back to eating and using the things that we need, that we use for since the beginning of time. Family and the entire diaspora, I love you. And we need to research the indigenous herbs and use them.
Indigenous herbs for indigenous people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right, you're right, Junior, right. Thank you so very much for all that we put together. And without you, Mr. Thompson and Mr. Todd, this couldn't have been possible. But the question that we are putting out to all of us, why is it that everything African is traditional and everything Western is modern and international? These are things that we got to question. And another thing that we must question, before the white man came to Africa, our people and our ancestors lived for over 100 plus years. But with the advent of everything international and modern, our life expectancy is diminishing, growing lower and lower. And with the advent of everything modern, there isn't anything modern that has ever surpassed the seven pilgrimage, if I may call them so, in Egypt and monuments of Egypt. There is no technology that has ever surpassed that. Irrigation began in Africa. Mathematics began in Africa. What happened that Plato came to Africa to learn philosophy? What happened that the first universities that were in Africa were banned before, and that all of us are running to the West to gain knowledge and wisdom and to learn all these things? It is time that we must reclaim our narrative. It is time that we must reclaim our food. It is time that we must reclaim our medicine, because from the beginning of time, every medicine was discovered in Africa. And the first surgery was performed in Africa. Why is it that things are different right now? We got to go back, not to anybody else. We must go back to God himself, and we must go back to Mother Nature. As Mr. Thompson has said, that does not have seed must not be consumed. That is not natural must not be eaten. That animal that cannot mate with another animal to give birth must not be consumed. So we got to go back to nature and reclaim ourselves to the very natural selves of us. Unless if we do not do that, we are going to die together, as Martin Luther King said, as fools. Thank you so very, very much. We're going to communicate the next time that we are going to explore this very subject of cannabis, sativa, and medical marijuana. Thank you so much. Until we meet next